Imagine if you could ask Facebook, Google, or Slack anything you wanted about chatbots. What would you ask them? Well, we sat down and we did just that. Hi, my name is Stefan Kojaharov, and I'm the founder of Chatbots Life. And this past September, we had the Chatbot Conference here in beautiful San Francisco. And during this conference, we sat down with the top 35 speakers in the Chatbot Space, and we asked them the most pressing questions regarding bots. We had people like Amir Shavet from Slack, who is head of developer relations. He's also the author of Designing Bots, one of the top books by O'Reilly on the topic of conversational design. And he shared some of his most interesting insights when it comes to designing bots and some of the things that Slack is seeing work really well for developers. We also had Shane Mack from Assist talk about bots. He brought on the CTO of 1-800-Flowers. And this was one of the first bots released on Facebook Messenger. And 1-800-Flowers is making this huge pivot where chatbots are not a strategy, but they are the strategy. So they're exploring multiple channels. And in his talk, they talked about how they came to this decision and how they're moving forward in this space from an enterprise point of view. They also talked about one of the most interesting parts about bots, and that is that it's truly revolutionizing from the point of view of friction and how much friction it actually reduces and how much we could hold state. Now, those are really deep concepts that you can learn about more in the course. And then there's ANAND from Facebook. Facebook has a lot of data. They have over 100,000 bots, and they shared some of the things that are working really, really well in the space. And then, of course, there's Mert. If you don't know Artie, he's a character. He's one of my favorite people in the bot space. And he's the founder of Dashbot. Dashbot is an analytics company that specializes in conversational design. So they get analytics from all the Facebook Messenger bots, from Google Home, from Alexa, and so on. And they've processed over 14 billion messages. Now, when Artie looked back and he looked at all those messages, he started to notice patterns. Certain things that are working for certain verticals and certain use cases, and then certain things that are working for designing your bot and re-engaging people with messages. And he shared those things at the Chatbot Conference as well. One of the most important parts about building a good bot is your NLP/NLU layer. This is the part of your bot that understands languages and turns it into inputs and outputs. And at the conference, we did a deep dive into the AI components, into the NLP, into the LNOU. Mert had a really good talk about the current state of artificial intelligence and where it is now, where it is going from here. He's the founder of MEADOWS, and he also happens to work for the Google Assistant team that's working on this stuff. We also had Alex from Rasa AI talk about artificial intelligence, and Rasa AI specializes in this stuff. So we also learned from the top chatbot startups, companies like Swelly, Foxy, Sensei, and many, many more. Peter gave us one of his best talks in terms of how they grew the Swelly product to over 5 million users. If you don't know Swell, it's one of the most popular bots on Messenger, and it does a great job of targeting that young demographic that everyone is so interested in. And then there's Foxy. Foxy is one of the top dating bots in the world right now. And Jin shared insights on how he marketed it, how he got users, and how he got his initial traction in this space. We also talked about how brands and enterprises are using chatbots. Companies like 1-800-Flowers, Disney, Proactive, Golden State Warriors, BMW, Mercedes, the Huffington Post. All these large companies are moving to bots, and they're moving to bots in a couple of different ways. One is from a marketing distribution channel point of view, and another one is from an AI automation point of view. So we talk a little bit about brands and enterprises, and we also do a deep dive in both of those topics. And most interestingly, we talked about emerging chatbot technologies, things that people are working on that are on the very fringes, the very forefront. Things like chatbot avatars that you could talk to. These things literally look like cartoons that will read your facial expressions and be able to interact with you the same way we are now, except if you could talk back to me, and I got that. A company named BOTANIC, founded by Mark Stephen Meadows, is working on a product like this. And he shared some of the bots that he's made. They're really, really cool. They're very revolutionary. We also talked about the future of bot design with Barud Shet from Gopshop. Gopshop is one of the largest companies in India when it comes to messaging, and they're also really heavily invested in the bot space. And Baru talked about the bot-to-bot design. In the future, when we make bots, or when we make any software technology, we won't just be writing code from scratch every single time. What we will do is we'll take little components like Lego pieces and we'll build them on top of each other. And by stacking up different bots, if you think of them as APIs that could talk to each other, two-way APIs, we can build some really interesting things. So Baru talked about bot-to-bot connections and building bots in this new and interesting sort of way. And last but not least, we discovered all the main topics like user experience design, marketing, monetization. We talked about copywriting. We had a Hollywood scriptwriters talk about how to write copy for your chatbot. And we also talked to many of the top designers and marketers in the space with the focus on what's working best right now and how we could take those learnings away and apply it for our bot. So if you find this course interesting at all, or if you're interested in marketing, or if you're interested in product development, if you're interested in designing a product, if you're interested in any of these things, or maybe you're a VC or you're looking for a job, or you're an enterprise or a brand, you have to take this course so you can see what is the current technologies in artificial intelligence and in chatbot design, and then where we're going from here and what it means for your life and how you can take advantage of it. So I hope to see you in the class and have a great rest of your day.